Do you ever feel that it's getting harder and harder and harder to know what's real and what is not nowadays? And it's not just online versus offline. The world just throws so much at us at the moment. So many distractions, so much fear, so many stories and opinions, that sometimes it can feel as if you're drowning in all of it. When I say it's getting harder to tell what's real and what's not, and not just online versus offline, but I mean actually with real, I mean true, as in what can I trust? What can I build my life on? What actually exists beyond opinions, stories, and noise? Because the last years, it feels like reality itself is shifting. So many versions of truth, each screaming louder than the last, and sometimes it feels like you're standing in the middle of a storm. Voices, fears, distractions, they're all trying to pull you in, and none of it, I am certain anymore, if it's truthful or just plain lies, half-truths or manipulations. For me, that confusion wasn't always obvious. It crept in slowly. Scrolling, listening, reading, trying to stay informed, connected, awake, until one day I noticed I was not feeling any of it. I was thinking, reacting, sometimes annoyed, angry, but not feeling. And that is when I realized the real noise isn't just out there, it's in here, in the mind that's trying to make sense of it all, without ever pausing to listen inward. For me, the only way forward is inward. And to find out what is real inside is already quite a job. And that is not easy. Because outside fears and outside stories and opinions, they can trigger our own emotions, and sometimes even subconsciously. But easy or not, it is the only direction that makes sense. And it is the direction that I will be exploring here. When I ran stuck with all the outside noise, that is when I started to shift direction. Not outward or online, and not toward the next opinion or theory, but inward, to find out what is real inside of me. And it's not easy, because when you turn inward, you don't just meet peace, you meet your fears, your doubts, the parts of you that still believe the outside world decides your truth. Sometimes when I sit with it, I can literally feel old emotions rise, almost like echoes from past versions of me, the ones that used to believe every loud voice out there. But if I stay with those sensations that are unpleasant, but I don't turn away, something opens. And that opening feels like truth. Not a mental truth, not a concept, but a felt one. And maybe that is the point. Maybe reality is not something that we find out there. Maybe it is something that we recognize in here. Because when I look inward long enough, I start to see that everything happening outside, the fears, the opinions, the chaos, is just reflecting what is still unresolved within me. And when I clear it inside, the outside world feels clearer too. Not because it changed, but because my perception did. And that is really what I want to explore with you. This process of turning inward, of finding what is real beneath the noise. In my next video, I will go deeper into how sensations, our sensations, the simple things we feel in our body, can become a direct link to truth. Because sensations never lie. They don't perform or pretend. They just show what is. So if reality feels confusing right now, maybe do not try to decode it all mentally. Just start by noticing what's real in you, right now, in this breath, in this moment. That is the only way forward. It is inward. That is where the truth lives. And once you start finding it there, you will see it everywhere else.